They often think that Satan only calls for gambling, or theft. But the choice we strike against Satan is when they put a person on the path of goodness. Then he whispers quietly. The rarest connection. Rare intellect, like other oblivious pioneers. This is the moment when a person is lined up from the throne to the earth. On the edge of the city there was an old but wonderful khanqa. Sheikh Kabir, called Sheikh Abdul Rahman, lived there. His fame was such that he was famous for his suffering, pain, and extermination, which spread throughout the entire city. Whenever he wanted, he would lose his temper, and when he spoke, words would come out of his mouth as if they were flowers. People would come to him from far-away places, ask him for supplications and kiss his hands. Sheikh Abdul Rahman had traces of prostration on his forehead. He used to get up at the end of the night, when the whole world was standing there, staring at him and crying. Anyone who saw him would think that he did not exist on the face of the earth at that time. May God bless him with greatness, but the human heart is as deep as a sea. Who is hiding in a depth that the person himself sometimes does not know? In a very deep corner of Sheikh Abdul Rahman's heart, a very subtle risk was brewing. When people kissed his hand, he felt a strange comfort. And when he was sitting in the council and people were listening to him silently, he himself would move and say, O Abd al-Rahman, your entire youth has been spent in the cause of God, so there is no doubt that your position is above many of the first of two worldly occupations. This thought was so precise that he did not see it as a son, but rather thought it as a thank you. He thought he was making God drunk, but in reality he was making himself drunk. Satan was not leading him to diamondage, but rather he was causing him to fall into the obligatory trap of self-admiration. One day, Sheikh Jali Sanfiya used to accept his embarrassment and return it. The cold wind was blowing outside and the place was full of sand. Suddenly it occurred to him. The one who does not recite 3 verses from the Holy Quran while that young man who lives next to me is still safe and sound. As soon as this thought occurred, you felt that a light had shone in his heart. He smiled, but he did not know it. He thought it was light, but in reality it was the spark from his own fire. He was in the ecstasy of worship, and the ecstasy of worship is more dangerous than the ecstasy of alcohol. Because the drinker knows that he is on a plan. As for the one who is immersed in the ecstasy of worship, he thinks that he is very close to God. Once upon a time, Sheikh Abdul Rahman's fame increased until people began to call him the cat of the past. But when God wants good for the servant, he breaks it and shows him himself. One day, the sheikh was sitting in Al-Khanqa Square giving his disciples a lesson in self-purification. That is, purification of the heart. His words were so beautiful that the eyes of those present filled with tears. Suddenly there was a loud noise at the door of the suffocation. All eyes turned towards a door. There was a strange man's life. It seems to you that he is crazy or deceived. About the servant of Al-Khanqa from Ak-Il. You crazy man, go back. Here the Sheikh's council is standing. But that Majdoub began to crush our voice openly. There was a strange resonance in his laughter. It's like he's revealing a hidden truth. He advanced directly until he arrived close to Sheikh Abdul Rahman's council. The devotees were angry because this dirty man had corrupted the council's etiquette. But Sheikh Abdul Rahman motioned to them with his hand to stop him. So he sat in their places. However, in his heart, a feeling of contempt and pluralism arose towards this man. He said to himself, what a misery this is. They do not seek refuge in purity. He does not know how to pray. And he came here. Al-Majdoub stood very close to the sheikh. Al-Hamrawani's eyes were full of embers. He stared directly into the sheikh's eyes. The sheikh asked him in a sweet voice, but there was hidden distress inside him. Brother, what do you want? If you're hungry, have langur. Here you will find Kabamama. Al-Majdoub laughed at Yatin when he heard what the sheik said. He said, food worships the most merciful. I didn't come here to eat your food. I came to tell you that there is a bad smell in your house. The sheik was surprised and said it smelled bad. No smell. This is God's house. It smells of perfume and incense. Al-Majdoub approached with a face like the sheik's. He said words that were joking, Sheikh Abd al-Rahman. They were very shaken. He worships the most gracious. Let people smell outside. But you cannot fool God. I smell the scent of idol in your heart. The sheikh's face turned yellow. Their voice trembled with anger and excitement. He said, any idol. I am a slave to God alone. I never associated anything with God. I scratched Majdoub again. But this time there was pain in his laughter. He put his finger on the sheikh's chest and said, you did not make the idol out of stone. But you have made yourself your God. When you walk you want people to see you. And when you speak, you want to be amazed. And you think you are better than everyone. Remember Abdul Rahman. In Arayan also invoke divinity. And you claim it in the dress of worship. There is a black dog inside you that you have raised. When I heard Sheikh Dalek, a gonorrhea spread throughout his body. He wanted to speak up to defend himself. But my eyes are blind. Etienne hoped sincerely, even as his words stuck in his throat. It's a joke, his words are pure. He said as he left. Why did you kill this dog? For all your prayers and fasting. They will be seen in your face on the day of resurrection. That man is gone. But Sheikh Abdul Rahman. They remained as an idol in her place. Sanat al-Majlis. The disciples did not understand what happened. They thought the man was crazy. He told you that he was not confused. But the sheikh knew that the arrow was the most difficult target. That night, the sheikh entered the room. But he did not stop praying. He stood in front of the woman and looked at himself. For his sake and for his life. And the host's face. But he heard Majdoub's voice. Within you is every son of Assad. Suddenly he felt that it was all false. And all the pride he thought he had. It was nothing but deception. For the first time looking inside. Injected Fur's Viper says. That bone that rings. Sheikh Abdul Rahman's fall on the ground. And his eyes filled with tears. These were not tears of reassurance, which he was crying before. Rather, it was tears of remorse. He realized he had lost his way. He decided that we would no longer live in the palace of this false pride. And he wanted to kill this groan. She has to die. To die while he is alive. And the next morning, when I share the sun, Sheikh Abdul Rahman is no longer in Kanta. He left behind the luxury. But it's hard. And his fame is all behind him. He left the city wearing simple clothes. He went on a trip in which no one would support him. And no one will kiss his hands. The real battle has now begun. Breathlessness. Sheikh Abdul Rahman went beyond the city walls. He turned once. Leandered to Baghdad's attic buildings. Otherwise, the luxury betrays him. He received the Kanka in which he lived as a king. Where velvet was spread for him. He heats the water for him to wash. But today he turned his back. He took the path of solitude. And everyone is far from both matters. The silence increased. In the beginning, his enthusiasm was very high. Yeshur said that he was about to embark on a great work. But when the sun of eternity sets above his head, Trimal began blazing. He moved his bare feet. He complained to himself for the first time. A whip came from inside him. He worships the most gracious, what do you do? Amdur. There is a tree that remains. Sit there and you will relax. You have spent your entire life in the service of science. Why do you need to bear this trouble? The sheikh placed his hands on Adonai. He said to himself, be quiet. You want comfort and you want dignity. You have deceived me for many years. And now I will curse you. Keep walking. And the city moved away behind it. All around is nothing but barren desert. Sand dunes. And thorn bushes. And the extended silence. Halal. The eerie sounds of the forest began to be heard. That is a man who wanted to sleep on a sleeping bed. Today's development is that he sleeps on the ground filled with stones. As soon as he lay down, the fear of insects began to attack him. Then he attacked him again. Come back. There is still time available. There must be people looking for you. And if you come, they will make you more great. They will say that our sheikh returned after being alone. Look at the trick of the devil. He was tempted by dignity again. Sheikh Abdul Rahman understood the matter. Saflalam jumped up and shouted. He breathes himself. Listen. Don't hesitate to go back now. Either you die. Or Amutana. But I will not return to that false world. And he stayed up all night. Not fear. Fearing that he would lose his resolve. Insatiable. That was the first night of loneliness. It was as if it was the day of resurrection. Once, 3 days after traveling. Abd al-Rahman's heart was not disturbed during it. Unless you start with a dose of water. He did not have any food or oats with him. The atmosphere. The atmosphere breaks a person. Even the strongest men and kings. They kneel before him. On the 4th day. The asylum began to really hurt. The sheikh's stomach stuck to his back. The support became intense. Until his seniority became difficult. Darkness began to cloud his eyes. He no longer complains himself. Balsar shouts. Eat everything. Look, there is a tree. All of its leaves. And you will die. Self-preservation is an obligation. The Shiko tried to head towards the tree. With faltering steps. But he stopped. He said to himself, if you eat with your own free will. What is the difference between me and an animal? And at that moment. Rakafalai Tantamer from Bade. The camels were loaded. The people of the caravan had stopped him. Mechanisms with a plan. Smell wind campaign. Grilled meat. And fresh bread, until I reached Umph. That was the smell. Like a sword that is dangerous. He filled his mouth with saliva. He attacked him with full force. So take it to them. If you are not a beggar. To know. If you ask them for food, they will honor you. The request is not forbidden. To waste your life, his feet started moving me. Towards the caravan without a will. And also to be defeated. But he didn't move. Until you remember what Al-Majdab said. Inside you is a black dog. He sat on his knees on the sand. He held the tarab with his hands. And he started crying. No, I will not ask. If I ask today, I will conquer myself. This is hunger or my hunger. And I have to bear it. They turned a face. The caravan was on one side. He is on the other side. And your mouth has begun to return. And when he is very hungry. Pick some bitter herbs. That grew from the ground. She was very bitter. Even animals eat it. What are the conditions of bitter leaves? TVFVMH. His whole body trembled. He refused to swallow the leaves in his throat. And the desire began to fade away. But he forced himself on chewing bitter leaves. And swallow it with water. So he put his hand on his stomach and said, myself. I was used to karmat and biryani. Isn't that the case? Take it. From today this is your food. All of them, thank God. That you even this, you've got me. On that day, in the forest there was a strange scene. For whoever was. There are no great scholars. He ate at royal tables. Today he eats grass. Animals. And he makes himself. Crying himself. This was the beginning of the death of the soul. But it's not over yet. Asylum was nothing but a blow to the body. As for the real Tuvan of falsehood, which uproots lawn from its roots, he had not come yet. I've even been hungry and thirsty in the forest. The body of Sheikh Abdul Rahman. But he hadn't finished yet. She was in a lethargic state. But she's alive. And a hug for her. Asylum was not enough. Rather, they needed the progress of countries. The old man decided to leave the forest. But this time, he did not return to Baghdad. She headed to a city. No one knows him there. His clothes were torn. And his life is full of dust. His badge is tangled. Wasting someone he harmed does not indicate a scholar. Rather, on a crazy beggar. I will not reach the gate of the city. Until it dries inside. A whip came at him from inside. He worships the most merciful and does not interfere. Sehin Naz. They will look at you with contempt. You are a man of stature. The countries will not bear this. I go back to the forest. There is at least one. No one will guide you. The sheik took a deep breath and said. He curses the arrogant one. For years I have been called Manhanas. Today, you must face your truth. Today you will hear what you want to hear. I entered the city market. The market was full of activity. And people who are busy buying and selling. And the smells of food and perfume. Fragrant in place. Sheikh Abd al-Rahman stood. As for one of the stores. This was one of the heaviest moments of his life. Iliad, who was always the one who gave. The day has become extended as requested. The extent of his trembling hand. And in his dry voice he said. For God's sake. Give this poor man something. The owner of the hungary looked at him up and down. I will not wait any longer. And I drink his hand saying. Take it from here. Where do these come from? Faithful early morning. These words stuck to the sheik's heart like whips. His face reddened with embarrassment. He wished that the earth would open and sleep today. He declared himself. Didn't I tell you? There is still time. Run away from here, you are Abdul Rahman. You can't stand this. But the sheik fixed my feet. He said to himself. Thank God. Today I found the real place. Advance more. There was sweet yet. Some displaced young men stand in front of him. And when they saw the sheik, they started rocky. Someone said, it seems that he did not take a shower from Dazman. Stay away, it smells bad. Another small cat picked up food from the ground. He threw it towards al-Sheikh, saying, Take and eat. Sheikh Abdul Rahman's view. To those 3 pieces. He became angry with himself. That rod that moves a person from within. But the sheik became angry with fun. Bend over and pick up the pieces. Clean it. And put it in his bag. Fertilize them, may God protect you. And I make you happy. And at that moment, some children with stripes sell it in the alleys. They started declaring a successor. Crazy. One of the children shouted. The madman came. Then stone it. He threw it with all his strength towards the sheik. The stone hit his forehead directly. He asked for a trickle of blood. And the blood did not spill even on the soil itself. Assaut shuddered internally. Enough. It's gone too far. Go back and answer them. And tell them who you are, and leave them nomads. And they will all perish. And the pain is severe. Sheikh Abdul Rahman's eyes filled with tears. He touched the blood dripping from his forehead with his hand. But instead of getting angry, he sat on my knee. He turned his face to listen and said, O Lord, for all your protection. I removed the mask of arrogance from my face. Today he threw her pomegranate. The first children with stones. To tell me my worth. I am the one who deserves that. I am the one who deserves that. The scene was worth seeing. On the one hand, people were rocking out. They throw stones at him. On the other hand, he was the man who was the world. He stabbed her on the head yesterday. Collecting alley dust today. And this insult to him. His soul was burning until it became ashes. Just as gold does not turn into gold. Except in fire, Abdul Rahman was also turning to Ali. Once a month, he became Sheikh Abdul Rahman. He lives in an abandoned ruin. I entered the whole city. Some people thought he was crazy, so they left him. Someone caught him throwing stones. Because his quality in their eyes has ended. This is what he wanted. In the depths of the soul. And it's an adapter. But Satan did not give up easily. He did not see that misfortune and hunger. This servant has brought him closer to God. He threw another one and filed his papers. The temptation of the world. One evening. Sheikh Ghali Senvisa was a ruin. And the sun is setting, and calm works everywhere. Suddenly a man came. He seems to be a rich merchant. It was luxurious. Behind him are two servants. They carry advice. The merchant looked at the sheikh. Despite his condition, there was a strange light on his face. Norn is born from patience and struggle. Zahran couldn't help but feel affected. He approached him and said politely, "Sheikh, I am the richest merchant in this city, and my heart tells me that you are. I am not just a beggar. Your forehead indicates that you are among the people of God." The sheikh did not open his eyes. "And we have left my desire to remember him." The merchant pointed to my servant. He placed the dishes in front of the sheikh. The trader revealed the two sectors, one of which. So I swallowed so that I would not cut off the garment. He illuminated the darkness of desolation. And in other dishes, the landscaping of Sahari was raw in others. "It's delicious." The merchant said, "Sir, please accept this advice. If you allow me, I will build you a luxurious khan here. It is not appropriate for someone like you to live in this desolation. I swear to God there. And learn Nastan. I take care of all your needs." This was a test we were bitten by. The same one that almost died. She returned to the comfort zone. She said in a deceptive voice, "He worships the most gracious. Take. This is not forbidden. With a gift. And think about taking this wealth. How much will you help the poor? And you can betray us. And debt service. What is the benefit of staying in the forest? Debt service here is suspended. We see Satan's trick. He did not call for diamonds. In the heart, stop the goodness to inspire love without a need." The sheikh looked at gold. And just one note. What's wrong with his heart? Think of comfort and dignity. And the general opportunity for the good. But his soul dried up. He remembered a hadith that said, "That love with Utiya, the root of all sin." They understood that this was suffocation. And this dignity. And this wealth. All of them were betrayed to live like that. The ego that almost killed him. And he was surprised. Take care of her, like scorpions and snakes. He felt that if he touched her, it will sting him. The sheikh suddenly got up. His eyes burned with anger. He shouted, "They sent him away. Keep him out of my sight. He eats without me. You came to support me, to the cage you broke." He retreated fearfully and said, "Sir, that I just want to serve you." Just what they said. If I serve you, this is Neron for me. You want to make Pharaoh again. And you want to make Nasi Abadani. Once again. No. Ex Barabi. This is ruin. These are torn clothes. Come to me from the palace of gold. Because my Lord is with me here. As for there, my soul will be with me. Then he took a piece of dirt. He threw it onto the filled plates. Go and said, "Take your world. So their name is my Lord, it is enough for me." The merchant stood astonished. Confused. Show the sheik's starting point from the place. Fight. As if we were a lion chasing him. He kept jumping and jumping. Even the rest of the city. And ruin and wealth. Far behind him. And that night. Refugee to Mount. And when he prostrated, he was a poet at that time. That's a heavy load. Their chests are gone. On that day, he kicked the world. He had finally given himself up. A period of time will pass. Days turned into months. And Abdul Rahman, a very old man. If henna appears, and his hair is as white as snow, it was not left in my body. What is called their wetness? But in my eyes, Brighton was united by the sun itself. He was now living in Kev. Small and densely packed. A piece of the world. But I pray to God. Become strong. To the point that the bird. And animals. She was coming to him. And it suits him, however. These were not miracles. She is a real success. But there was something else. One afternoon. Sheikh Jal Sankraj was all over. He eats bread, basin, dipped in mam. Then the struggle came to you. The refugee situation is severe. His tongue is hanging out. He rarely sees the sheik in my eyes. You brought me hope. So the sheik broke the 2 pieces of bread. And he met him in front of him. The dog pounced on her and ate her. Sama started shaking his hand, as if he was asking for more. So he gave him another piece. Sama third, until I fed him all his bread. And after the dog was satisfied, he lay at the sheik's feet. And he put his head on them. Sheikh Abdul Rahman's view. To that animal with contemplation. That dog that was writhing in distress just moments ago. He was now lying at ease. At the feet of companionship. He doesn't think about fishing. Nor in anything else. Having company is enough for him. At that moment. You are the successor of Sheikh Sarnamet, so we cried so hard that our sister, Tabaka, cried. He put his hand on his chest. And he addressed himself. He himself. I hate this animal. He became loyal to Yanli for valuable things. So they lay down at my feet. Even though you have been my uncle for many years. May God bless you. I remained rebellious. Are you closer to this dog? At that moment. He felt a strange feeling. I have added years of struggle. And refuge, thirst and humiliation. Finally her turn. I feel a deep stillness within him. The resentment and complaints have subsided, and the voice cursed us. I realize it's a black dog. What Al-Majdaub mentioned. And the lion used to roar at you and attack him. Today he has become a pet. He didn't die, for himself to die. But she is subject to only one person. Sheikh looked up at Sameh and smiled. And he said, now you are no longer my master. Rather, I am your master. You will do whatever I want. If I told you, I would stand up. And if I told you to be patient in the weather. I was patient. That is the rank he calls the Sufis. That's the same isomorph. When the soul was excommunicated by God's will, blood no longer changes the atmosphere in worship. Worship has become the next day. He no longer needs to struggle. To abandon sin, Belsa escapes from her with medicine. Telemark finished. The victory was not for Abdul Rahman. By God, Abdul Rahman. Which of them is this power? They say that the musky scent cannot be hidden. And so are the saints of God. Where are they hidden in the wastes of the earth? The world affects them. And long winds. Some Baghdad merchants were walking along the road to that forest. Favorite the way. So look for water, until they reached that cafe. When they saw an old man, Al-Nurani approached him. They didn't recognize him at first. But the toothy man was among them. In his youth, he was a disciple of Sheikh Abdul Rahman. So consider one side. Then Arafah. Then a cry fell at his feet, saying, Sir, you are here. All of Baghdad is looking for you. And people thought that you had killed him. What is the situation you have reached? They did not make Abdul Rahman have a ballot on his head. His voice was this Ankh du deep sea. And he said, My brother, I did not lose my mind. Reform is real. Here I was, there I was. And here she insisted on something. And when a person becomes imminent, then he gets everything. Your disciple said, Sir, teach us to Baghdad. That people need you. And they still remember your words. The sheikh smiled and said, Baghdad, that world, is not given to Lycian dream. My time is near. Indeed, his time was near. That night his condition began to change. Not because of illness or pain. Rather, it is a strange longing. They were shaking with a strange feeling of anxiety. But this was not the fear of death. Rather, the longing for the speaker was a lover. The merchant and that disciple sat next to him. She had a dancing peg. The sheikh held the disciple's hand with the sex hand. He gave him the last commandments. They were words that deserved to be written in detail. He said, My son, take a needle from this snake. Fighting the external enemy is easy. And their wounds will kill Tam. But never lose sight of your inner enemy. They also steal when the owner of the house is asleep. She is not overwhelmed by dignity. Rather, keep it always in the midst of rain and rain. Whoever knows herself knows her Lord. Then breathe deeply. And the tip meant it towards the ceiling. Someone came to take it. My lips moved and my last words came out. Oh God! You broke me to arm me. I am satisfied, my Lord. I am satisfied. And with these words, what do you expect besides? And the body resides. A strange smell spread throughout the cave. A scent unlike any perfume in the world. That traveler who spent his entire life efforting himself. He was finally defeated and returned to his Lord. We were buried in that same forest. No luxurious stone was built over his grave. Rather, it was an abstraction that fell from the dirt. But it is said that everyone who passes through here, he feels a strange calm. And so was the story of Dalek Man, who blasphemed poverty, a true king. Today we are all dual in our lives. Some of us suffer from depression. Some of us are few. Some of us run after money. But why can't we find peace? Because we are all slaves of our souls. My soul says, look at me. Praise me. Give me the best year. And the bigger the car. We seek to make money like crazy. We believe that fulfilling desires brings peace. But the truth, that's adding oil to the fire. Don't float it. Rather, it increases their flames. Serenity does not lie in satisfying desires. Rather, it is aha and in the end of the moment. On this night, when you lie on your head, look inside you. Is there also a black dog? Who use it as an advantage for what you don't want? Are you the owner? I'm not the owner. The decision is yours. Are you ready for this battle? Because he who is defeated by himself, they are poor, even if you own the whole world. He who conquers himself, he is Macaun. Even if he was in torn clothes. We ask God to protect us from the evils of Amphisna. And to give us peace, which is attained in prostration. Amen. I resign Isa. From which country are you watching this video? Mara Yakman this story. Share your opinions in the comments. And subscribe to our channel. Thank you very much for watching. And see you in another story.